Alright, hi everybody, my name is Abby. Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about hero bans, as you've clearly seen in the totally not clickbait title and the totally not clickbait thumbnail. Welcome to the video. Does Overwatch need hero bans? That's what we're going to talk about, so let's not waste any time. If you don't know what hero bans are, let me introduce the concept to you. The idea of a hero ban or bans in general is typically in games with different, character-based interacting environments. Let's say a hero shooter, maybe a MOBA. The concept of a ban is usually a team or a player will get to select either through voting or, by themselves, like in a game like League of Legends, where you get to get rid of a particular character that is maybe a little bit overwhelmingly strong, either against you or just in the game in general. The idea here is that this is a soft band-aid solution to basically, helping identify a balancing problem in the game as well. There's no denying it. For example, right now in Overwatch, we have a broken tank in the form of Hazard. I have a Hazard, rant video thingy coming out very soon. If you guys can't tell from the little sniffles that I might be doing in this video, I'm kind of sick and I hate being sick. I get sick very frequently and I'm getting sick and tired of being sick. Please help. Okay, anyways, that aside, Hazard is kind of a little bit silly right now. He has a 54% win rate on overbuff, which is absurd when you think about it, because I don't remember the last time a tank was this overtuned where the tank had a 54% win rate. Like, seriously, what were they thinking? To be fair, when I was going through his patch notes, I didn't actually read and focus and try to understand the character, because I'm not going to lie, I was so bored of 5v5 tanks and the way that they're being designed and conceptualized that I truly just cared about the 6v6 experience. Now, I've not seen that side of 5v5 just say that, oh, hey, by the way, Hazard's taking over the game. So I will get in some games as we speak. This is early morning for me. I'm going to be playing a little bit later today in a scrim group, and I'm going to try to get a feeling down of, okay, why is this character a little bit silly, and then talk about it tomorrow. But that aside, the concept here is, let's say I'm about to go in a ranked game, and we all know Hazard's like in this case, Hazard is an unfair character to play against. He brings an unfair advantage. He's very strong, and he makes playing, even from a role to role perspective. Let's say you're playing Winston into Hazard, you're playing Ram into Hazard, you're playing Ryan into Hazard. Well, Hazard just feels impossible to play against because the character is so overtuned and overkitted. So what is the way you can deal with this character is either the team will unanimously vote that, okay, well, we don't want Hazard in this game, so we're going to ban him. Or what's going to happen is that if each role is allowed to, pick or even vote for a ban, then let's say the tank player will choose to ban Hazard, and then they'll choose to protect. Now that brings us to the next concept in hero bans, and usually the way these are also implemented is not only do you get to ban a hero, but you can also protect a hero. Now, do you get to protect something first or do you get to ban something first is a completely different topic and goes from game to game. But it is usually the case that you want to have the ban first to deal with the problematic situation, then go for the implementation of a hero protection that you want to force into the game. So that is, by the way, like something that does happen. If you look at League of Legends and even Marvel Rivals, I believe this is how it does work, right? Again, I just woke up, my memory is not the best right now, so we're kind of winging it for this video as we always do. So that aside, I think I'm fairly right on that. That aside, so hero ban, hero protection, and then the game starts. Usually that's how the pre-match lobby would look like. Is you would vote, get the character out, you would protect your characters so that you can go play the game in the way that you want to play it and shape it in a way where you can enjoy it the best that you can, still under that competitive nature of the video game. So then that raises the question that now that we do understand what is a hero ban, what is its purpose, what is a hero protection, what is its purpose, do these things begin to apply in a world where can we now see them in Overwatch? Now, the reason this discussion is generating as much as it is because Marvel Rivals is already doing hero bans in Diamond and above, despite having a marginally smaller roster in their game, and arguably those bans are even more impactful in that game than they would be, in my opinion, in Overwatch. So because people are feeling the effects, they're discussing it on the social media. I saw some tweets about it from your Overwatch and Samito, so I thought I'd give my takes over here as to what I think if Overwatch is finally a spot where, hey, do we need hero bans, and some discussion points around it. Now, I have a lot more things to say, guys. Don't just log off. I'm going to talk about the goods, the bads, and the uglies in just a second, right? But first, my opinion. I think perhaps for a season or two, it is time that we try to experiment with having hero bans in the game, having hero protections in the game, and start to see how it impacts the way the game is being played, and then collect feedback from basically across all ranks. I know the casuals are not going to like it, but anybody that's going to be taking the game seriously will see it as a much needed clause to their experience becoming much better. Now, there are some upsides and there are some downsides. Obviously, look, the upsides are really easy. I don't like meta character, I ban meta character, I can still have fun in the game because I can play my pocket picks. Well, the other side is if they're stream sniping you or you're a known player in the rank, pretty much like in Diamond and above, everybody knows each other at this point because, you know, the rank distribution is an absolute atrocity right now. For the past few seasons, it's been an atrocity, but we don't talk about that because we all want to pretend that it's not that bad. I digress. Let's say you get a one trick on your team that you know that, oh, this guy is a Junkrat one trick, right? And I want to ban Junkrat because then this guy becomes the immediate weak link, right? This is one of those uglies, and this is one of those bads that I was discussing, that this is a potential case that can happen as well, is you can ban, like, and like, you know, or even a Mercy one trick, you can ban that Mercy, you can ban that Junkrat, and now you have like one or two weak links that can't really play something else. Now, the real question behind this is this embodying the actual competitive nature of the game? For example, what I'm trying to say over here, hold on, my English isn't the best. You guys know English isn't my first language, but let me get my point across as I yap like I always do. My point here is to that Junkrat specialist or that Mercy specialist that can't necessarily play, let's say, any other character at that high level, like, what does their experience look like? Yes, it does get deterred. Yes, it does suck for them. But also, to be fair, the nature of hero shooters or even MOBAs and just any character-based game is the idea that, well, at the end of the day, you have to expand your hero pool no matter what. Like, you're going to have to start swapping and making things work. Otherwise, you are semi-throwing. Now, for example, if you're playing, you know, Junkrat into 𝐒𝐈𝐈𝐓𝐄𝐇, I mean, no matter how good you are at Junkrat, if the 𝐒𝐈𝐈𝐓𝐄𝐇 are at that same level of gameplay as you, and they're mechanically gifted at what they're doing, they're going to be typically bullying you 9 times out of 10. It is going to be incredibly difficult to make that, you know, Junkrat pick work. And at that point, if you're in the game, you're taking it competitively seriously, you're taking it, you know, from a competitive integrity point of view, you're gonna have to swap. You're gonna have to swap. You're gonna have to, like, okay, I need to answer that Pharah. I need to answer that Echo. I might have to play Echo myself to deal with the flyers. I might have to play a hit scan to deal with the flyers. I gotta swap it on the fly, or we're gonna have to like adjust our gameplay strategy on the floor to be even faster and just pretty much push point and play around it. But you see where my point is going, right? Same thing goes over to the support side of things as well. It's like, well, we banned the Mercy one trick, and now she's a joke on playing characters like Juno and Moira or, you know, 𝐓𝐈𝐈𝐓𝐄𝐇. I don't understand how you can be horrible on either of those characters when they're brain deadly easy to play, but I digress again. Point is that there is a way to abuse this system to perhaps make your matches easier. However, on the flip side of things, those players should know better as well that in a game genre like this, realistically speaking, one-tricking or soft, like, you know, having a very small hero pool isn't necessarily going to be the best thing unless you're playing in super high-level dedicated play, right? Like, it's just never going to work out the way you want it to in ranked. For example, right now in ranked, it doesn't matter whether you play support, damage, or tank. The real way to rank up is by having a good hero pool where you're able to fill different niches in order to fit into different compositions that might be needed at a time. For example, I think in Overwatch right now, as a DPS, you need to be able to play some hit scans, a couple of projectiles in order to get max value, in order to help your team make plays, blah, blah, things like that. In support, you should be able to play some form of main and off healing characters. In tank, you should be able to play a poke tank, a brawl tank, and a dive tank. And well, right now in this case, you should definitely be able to play hazard in order to, you know, better your experience as much as possible. The core nature of the game is always going to be about learning as many characters as you can. Now, using another game as an example, League of Legends. If you are playing typically against a, let's say, a squishy heavy comp in League of Legends, assassin-based characters like Yasuo and Yone look a lot more appealing to play, right? Now, let's say Yasuo and Yone get banned and you can't play them against those squishy characters. Well, let's say your Yasuo Yone specialist should be aiming to play something else that, you know, like, okay, hypothetically, in the off chance that this does happen, I have a back pocket pick that can somehow work and I don't deter my own experience. Because at that point, it's a player weakness. It's not a game weakness, right? Because at the end of the day, like I said, it is a bandit solution. It has its ups, it has its downs. It's not perfect. But you know what isn't perfect either? The Overwatch balance. But how can we try to make that better? As much as I hate to say it, hero bans does kind of help in that regard. Now, what hero bans does is it helps isolate a problem, right? It helps isolate a problem for a balanced team to try and understand, well, why are people always banning this character? Because they get the data, they get to see it rather quickly, they get to evaluate it rather quickly, and they get to view it from an individual character point of view and not necessarily from the surrounding game environment. For example, We know that Juno has been pretty damn strong for a while, and one of her complementary supports that works well with her is Brigitte. However, instead of addressing the changes that were made to Juno, they nerfed Brigitte. Now, the support comp is still very good, but it's by no means fair for Brigitte to get nerfed because of what Juno is doing, right? I'm trying to be extremely fair over here. However, let's say if we had hero bans in the game and Juno was getting constantly banned and Brigitte in rank was seeing little play because she's not around as much to babysit the Juno and things like that, well then now you don't necessarily ever have to see Brigitte getting nerfed because of Juno's sins. You understand what I'm trying to say here, right? Then from a development team, balance team point of view, they're able to isolate that problem. They're able to realize that, okay, Juno's the problem. They don't like Juno. Why don't they like Juno? Let's have an internal discussion and look into this problem. So yes, there are ups and downs to hero bans. You can get targeted, you can get like exploited. You might have people that use it the right way, you have people that use it the wrong way, but that's sadly going to be every system ever. Now, do I think it's needed? I would say yes, but from the perspective that let's try it for 1 or 2 seasons. Let's see how the community uses it. Let's see how the balance team balances around it. If it is something that benefits Overwatch, I think it's finally time that we can implement at least 2 bans across each team. 2 bans from us, 2 bans from them. And in a way, it promotes extreme diversity in the meta. In a way, it kind of also allows people to find their comfort heroes and stay to those comfort heroes. And also, if you're banning the wrong things, people can exploit that to play the stronger things that you have learned, assumingly, to run over them because they decide to ban something weird like Mei in the current meta, or like Sim or Torb, right? I don't know. I think Overwatch could use it for at least a season, and we all just kind of go from there. Now, sadly, that's for a 5v5 perspective, right? 5v5 is a little bit more on the rough end. So, I'm keeping an open mind to it, but I do want to hear your guys' thoughts below. Do you think Overwatch needs hero bans? If yes, why? If no, why? Now, a few points to keep in mind before you answer this is, remember, hero bans can help isolate individual hero problems much faster for a balanced team than the way the game currently works. However, the hero bans on a particular character that has a high ban rate doesn't also always necessarily mean that they are going to be balanced, because the balanced team might just think the character is not that broken because they don't have enough data to see his playtime, blah blah, things like that. But then the flip side of that coin is we are in a world where there is no hero bans and things like that, and we do have situations where certain tanks go out of control. Mauga, Orisa, Hog, and now Hazard. They all fit into this niche where if 1 or 2 numbers go a bit too high, then they go a little bit too crazy. Then the problem is that when it comes to dealing with them, Blizzard deals with them in the worst way possible. So, in a way, I want to say no, I don't think Overwatch needs hero bans, but at the same time, I'm like, man, you know what? We've screwed with this game so much, at this point, we can at least try it for a season. Or like have an experimental competitive mode separately where we can try for a season. But honestly, then nobody would play it because they just play normal rank. So, I would say try it for a season, see how it goes. And then let's see how the balance patch looks. That's my personal opinion on it. With that being said, I want to hear your comments down below. And I will see you in tomorrow's video where we're definitely going to be ranting about the state of Hazard.